Hey guys, Brandon Wynn here, Nashville basis, coming to you with a new video. So today's video, I'm going to be doing an initial review, kind of show off, unboxing video of a new bass guitar that I just got. I've been wanting one of these for a long time, and I finally got one. So we'll go into some of the specs of it and give you a look at it. I can't do the like tone video, the audio portion of what I would normally do today because I'm not set up to do it. I don't have the time to do it, but I'll be bringing you that as soon as I can. Today is just kind of an initial look at the instrument, talk about the instrument, kind of show off the instrument. So let's jump into it. Like I said, I've been wanting one of these for a long time. So back in high school, I worked in a music store, a very fantastic music store in my hometown. I was lucky to start working there when I turned 15 years old, which was one of the coolest jobs ever. If I wasn't busy helping a customer or stocking or, cleaning instruments or, whatever other things I needed to do around the store, I could sit and play some, which didn't happen a lot, but it was really cool when we had slower days and I could do that because I got to kind of check out the instruments. And then when new instruments would come in, I would get to test them out, which was always cool. But towards the end of high school, like I said, we dealt in a lot of really, really nice instruments. We were a Taylor dealer. We were a Martin dealer. We sold Yamaha and Samick pianos. We were an authorized Gibson dealer. Loudon guitars. We were an authorized dealer for Loudon, also Larrivee. We did a lot of acoustic guitars. But as far as like electrics, I think the only brand that we had that we were an authorized dealer for was Gibson and Epiphone. We did sell other things, some Fenders and things like that, but mainly Gibsons. But like I said, towards the end of high school, we got a line of basses in from a company that I wasn't super familiar with at the time. It was a company that had been around for quite a while. But like I said, I wasn't super familiar with them. So this would have been the mid to going into the late 90s. And from the first time that I saw them when they came in, I loved them. I loved the look of them. I got to sit down and play them. I thought they were incredible. And I wanted one from that moment on, even though at that time I wasn't a bass player really. I played bass, but only because like my church needed a bass player and sometimes around town for certain events needed a bass player, but I was a guitar player / kind of drummer. I didn't get into bass as my main instrument till much later, starting kind of my professional career. But I wanted one of these basses from the moment that I saw them. Now the ones that we had, I can't say for sure because it's been so long ago, but I do believe, I'm positive it was kind of the lower end line of this company to kind of your mid-range line of this company, at least at the time. So, you're looking at your $500 to $1,000 range, I believe is what we had. And I can't say for sure what the models were of those basses because it's been so long ago. I think I know, but I'm not quite certain. But anyway, I knew I wanted one. And it wasn't until years later, I never forgot about this brand entirely, but they kind of went in the back of my mind. And it wasn't until a few years ago that they released a new line of basses and there was a lot of promo around them. And I started seeing it pop up and I was like, oh yeah, this company. I was like, wait a second. I remember really, really liking that. I think that's one of the sounds I'm going after. Now, I've got a lot of different basses because I'm a touring musician, I'm a studio musician, and you need a lot of things in your arsenal. But one of the things I wanted to go for, I was like, I think that's what it is. That's what I've been missing. That's what I've been looking for. And I started thinking about them. I was like, I want to try these out. I really think this is kind of what I'm looking for this particular style of instrument. So working with a lot of different companies, having artist endorsements with different companies. I've been so blessed with that. I've got a Diodario. I know it's D'Addario, but I will say Diodario till the day I die. I've been playing Diodario strings since I was like 7 or 8 years old. But I've got a Diodario endorsement. which brings a lot of cool things with it, which gives me access to like, Pro Mark and Evans and things like that. And being a drummer, that's awesome. But I've got a D'Addario artist endorsement with them, which is awesome. I am an official PRS, official artist roster artist, which is awesome. I like, how did that even happen? Freaking amazing. I've got one of their basses. I love it to death. Unfortunately, they stopped making basses as of this year, but fantastic company to work with. Love being on their artist roster with people like Santana and Tremonti and all the PRS guys that I looked up to growing up. So I gave it a shot, and I reached out to this company to see if I could possibly get an artist deal, and they said yes, they were willing to work with me. Now, as of right now, I'm not an official artist for the company because I haven't like fully taken the deal. I've talked with them off and on, but I've been so busy that it just kind of got pushed off, but and a lot of different things. But I saw this bass the other day, and it was at a really good price point. I had a really good deal. So instead of, going through what would be my artist rep at this company, and, having them send me something and, get my artist discount and whatnot, I just went ahead and got this because it was such a good price point. And I was like, I want to get it. I want to get it. I want to try it out. I want to throw in the mix. I can always get stuff later if I need some other stuff, which is probably going to happen if I do decide to go forward with this artist deal. But I went ahead and just got this and to add to the mix. And I think it's going to be exactly what I'm looking for this kind of style instrument. So without further rambling, this is why my videos always ended up being so long, is because I ramble and ramble. Let's look at the bass. I'll give you some specs and talk about it, give you my initial impressions. So what is the bass? What is the company? Well, that would be Spector. So I've been wanting a Spector for a long time, and I finally got one. Now this is the Spector Pulse II. So this is kind of an intermediate Spector. This is kind of the scratching the surface, getting into a proper Spector. They have like the Performer line and the Legend line. And I'm pretty sure that's what we carried back in the day, was the Performers and the Legends. Those are kind of the lower end, but when you start getting into an actual proper Spector, this is going to be kind of the starting point. So you've got the Pulses. This is the Pulse II. You've got the Pulse I, which came in two different colors. It had a sandblasted top. It came in like a grayish charcoal color. I can't even remember what it was called, but a really, really cool look with that sandblasted top. And then it came in what they called Cinder, which was kind of a red and black thing going on with the sandblast. It looked really cool. But this is the Pulse II. Comes in three different colors, all flat finishes. This is the black cherry, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. It comes in a black stain, and what's the other one? The violet, which is pretty gnarly as well. Comes in a variety of like the way that it's done. Some of them are darker, some of them are lighter and more brilliant. Some of them have a light fade. Some of them have a more drastic fade. It just really depends. But this one, for me, is perfect. Now, on camera, this looks a bit brighter than it does here in person, I've noticed. It's really a lot darker around here than it looks on camera, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, we've got a quilted maple top. We've got an ebony fingerboard. This thing is incredible. The neck on this is a three-piece maple roasted neck. Come on now. Fantastic. I love roasted necks. Not for just the durability and stuff, but the look of it is just absolutely gorgeous. Of course, Spector's known for their three-piece necks, which are supposed to be more sturdy. Then you add the roasted element to it, and it just makes it even more sturdy and sound and just ridiculous. This is one of the best feeling necks I've ever felt on an instrument. I love it so much. It's perfect for my hands. I've got rather large hands, and I tend to like smaller necks for whatever reason, but this is perfect. It feels incredible. The craftsmanship, the way this, man, it's just incredible. But this thing feels amazing. I love the kind of natural wood, just kind of satin finish. I don't like glossed necks. I don't like painted necks. I've used them, but I prefer, more of the satin natural wood feel. Guys, this neck feels incredible. Absolutely incredible. As you can see, just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous bass. You can see the wood grain in there. We've got the 5-bolt design back here, battery compartment, electronics compartment. You got your Spector tuners. This one obviously has the pedal, AKA Gumby headstock, which I'm a huge fan of. I like this more than the other headstock that they use on a lot of the other instruments, especially the higher end instruments. Now these are made in, they're designed in New York, but they're crafted in Korea. But guys, don't let that deter you. These things are amazing. Just because stuff's made overseas doesn't mean it's going to be bad. These things are very, very well built, extremely well built. The price point of these depends on where you get them. I think they list for like $1,600. So it's not a cheap instrument. They're made extremely well. So just because they're made in Korea, do not let that sway you away from this instrument. This is a proper instrument, a pro level instrument all the way. We've got the EMG PJ pickup configuration here. We've got our 4 knobs here. We've got our master volume, our blend between the 2 pickups, and then we've got a bass and a treble control. These are not boost cut. These are boost only, which I was kind of iffy about because I like to roll that tone off, but it sits well. It's got a great starting point and you can add more, and the way you blend these in together, it really works really well together. We've got the Tone Pump Junior in there for our electronics. One thing that Spector does with these strap pegs, instead of having them here, they move them up so the bass naturally kind of cants like that, which I like that. I play it that way anyway. I'll probably wear this one, somewhere, right in here. Some basses I'll wear lower, some basses I'll wear higher. This is probably gonna go kind of right there in the middle. I can't say enough about this neck, man. It just, not only does it look amazing, it feels incredible. And like I said, on camera, it's gonna look much lighter than it is. It's got a very cool, dark finish to it. It's really, really nice. I think I already said Spector tuners, which are pretty nice. I like them. Obviously, we've got that curve, that Spector curve, that contour, which really is nice against your body. But the way it's curved, it really it's like it pushes the strings and the pickups into your hand. It's really cool how it does that. So it like really makes you kind of like part of the instrument. I love what they do with that. Obviously, we've got no fret markers. We've got the Spector logo on the 12th fret. We do have some dots and markers up here, which are glow in the dark, which is awesome. I mean, how awesome is that? We've all been on those dark stages and, crowds screaming and you're sitting there panicking. Where am I on the neck? Where am I? Now you can see. These things are amazing. They glow in the dark. They're kind of a bluish green color, which I think contrasts really well with the red and the dark. I think it's cool, but that's awesome to add features like that. So we can see we've got a lot of premium features. We've got glow in the dark dots. We've got roasted maple neck. We've got quilted maple top. We've got amazing hardware, really good electronics. This thing is amazing, guys. I love this thing. Now, I think one reason I did get a little bit of a deal on this, I'm assuming anyway, I don't know this for sure. There are a few dings and nicks, which I care nothing about. It's going to get its road wear because that's what I do. You know, I travel. It's going to happen. You try to limit it, but it's going to happen. But there are a few little dings. There's a tiny little one there. There's one here on the edge where somebody caught it on something. And then there was just a very slight like dimple, not a dimple, but just like where somebody like poked it with like something, little scratch there. I don't care about those at all. But this thing is amazing. I don't remember the weight on these. They're not too heavy. It's a nice weight, but man, it just feels so comfortable. I love the playing position. The reverse P, which is something that Spector does. The idea behind the reverse P, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, this P pickup, usually this one's forward and this one's back. And now they reversed it. This one's more forward and this one's more back. And one reason they do that, it gives you a little bit more punch. As you get up here closer to the neck, you get more boom, more roundedness, more punch, I guess. So the idea is if you move this forward a little bit, these lower strings, you get a little bit more punch out of them. And then with moving this in the back, with those lower strings where you're going to get a fuller sound anyway with the thicker strings, it's going to make those a little bit tighter. And then the spacing between this back pickup and this just gives it a really nice tight sound. So with these two blended together, it's just a fantastic tone. Obviously, you can roll this all the way to the P pickup. You can roll it all the way to the back J pickup, anywhere in between. Just really, really nice how it's set up. I haven't had a lot of chance to play this yet. I've only had it a day and a half. But I played it a little bit last night, and so far, trying to dial in my tones, I think it's exactly what I'm looking for. It's a fantastic bass, just a absolutely fantastic bass. I love the flat finish. I wish you could see it the way that I'm seeing it. Like I said, the camera makes it a little lighter, but the darkness here of this color is just gorgeous up in here. It's really got a cool fade. On camera, I noticed it looked like this color came out further than it really does here in person. But still on camera, I think it looks amazing. I love the bright, rich cherry, but I love this dark, blackish red, just rich color. Man, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, these do come in 3 colors. They also come in 5-string and 6-string. I think the 6-string only comes in the black stain, but you can get the 4-string and the 5-string in all 3 of these colors. I think this is my favorite color. I really do. And I've never been a fan of red guitars. I'm just not a fan of red guitars, yet I essentially own 3 of them now. I've got this one, my main bass that I play most, my J bass is that, what do they call it? It's the faded red, the Fiesta red from Fender, which I like that red. That's one of my favorite guitar finishes of all time. But I've got that one. I've got this one now. My PRS Granger bass is not really red. It's blood orange, but it kind of fades from a really bright, brilliant orange with that tin top, maple top from PRS. But it fades into kind of an orangish red color, and then the back is more red. Looks a lot like this, a little bit lighter. But yeah, I've essentially got 3 red guitars, and I've never been a fan of red guitars, but if they're done right, they're done right. And I really, really like this one. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Out in the sunlight, man, this thing just pops. I do a lot of outdoor shows, so it's going to look good out there. It's going to look good in any indoor shows, arenas, with the lights and stuff. It's going to be a looker for sure. But man, one of the most comfortable basses I've ever played. One of the coolest body styles. I love their design, and it's obviously a smaller body than a lot of basses. It's just nice and to the point. It's absolutely incredible, guys. But this is the Spector Pulse II. Like I said, you can get these for a decent price, and depending on where you get them, I've seen some sales, but you're generally going to pay $1,000+ for one of these basses. Like I said, I think the Pulse is listed at like $1,600. But you can usually find them for cheaper than that, 11, 12, 13, 1400. Some of their other kind of intermediate bases, kind of, like I said, getting into a proper Spector. You got the Pulse series. You also have the Ethos bases, which I love, and I want one so bad. The Ethos is an amazing base. There's different varieties of it now. They've got the Ethos HP, which the Ethos and the Ethos HP, totally different bases from each other. One is like a hot rod, real rocker. If you're playing rock, metal, anything like that, it's very hot rodded. Whereas the Ethos is more mild-mannered. It's kind of geared to have a little bit warmer tones, be a little bit more versatile for players that wants a little bit different flavor. It's got the Aguilar pickups. It sounds incredible. I absolutely love them. I want one very, very badly. Hopefully I have one of those soon. But you got those. You've got the new one that just came out, the Icon, which is interesting. I think it's going to be a big seller for Spector. It's like, it's a lot like their Euros. You've got the actual Spector markers, which you don't get on the lower end bases or the mid-range bases. But you get those markers. You've got the, higher end headstock. You've got really, really cool high end finishes on it. But at a really good price point. I think those are selling for like $1,200. So those are even a little bit cheaper than this, but they're pretty proper Spectors. Now, obviously they're not going to be quite like a Euro. They're definitely not going to be like the American stuff. But they are proper Spectors, and I'm glad to see Spector kind of move out in the market where they're making more affordable bases. I think it's going to be good for them money-wise. It's going to bring in a wider crowd. I think they're going to be good sellers. They're more reachable for most people. So I think they may be some of their best sellers, because most people don't have, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to spend on a base. And where they're worth the money, people just don't have that, especially nowadays with the way things are. But making instruments at a nicer price point, I think, is going to pay off big for Spector. And I like seeing it. And they're extremely well made. So you're going to get a pro level instrument. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I wanted to show this off and talk about it a little bit. Just an absolutely fantastic, gorgeous, gorgeous bass. I do want a 5-string really bad. When I started looking at Spector, I wasn't even thinking about getting a 4-string. But I decided to get a 4 because I play a 4-string more than I do a 5-string, and I've got a really good 5-string right now. I do want a Spector 5-string. But I thought I would get more use with what I'm doing as right now anyway in my professional career out of a 4-string than I would a 5-string. So I think it's going to be a great addition. I don't have very many shows left for the year. We're winding down. We're getting into that off season. I don't know if this one's going to make it out this year, but it'll definitely make it out next year. I'm kind of thinking about taking it on this next run, but I got to make sure it's set up properly and dialed in well. So anyway, guys, Spector Pulse II, definitely worth the money. Like I said, I got an excellent deal on this one. It's absolutely fantastic, but man, I'm super, super happy. So like I said, I'll be bringing you another video with this bass to give you an in-depth review. We'll go into the tones we can get. We'll play it through a few different things. I'll play it through my Avalon, through the Shaw. We'll play it through what I've got on my touring board, which is my Ampeg SGT DI, paired with the all-amazing Union Tube and Transistor Compressor. Those two pedals together is incredible. Pretty much all you need. Fantastic, because you got an awesome preamp, you got an awesome compressor, you've got dirt if you want to add some overdrive with the SGT. You've got the cab sim stuff. Both of those pedals together, oh my gosh, man, I'm loving that rig. I've consolidated my rig to just a couple pedals now, and it's fantastic. It sounds so good. Anyway, guys, appreciate you guys watching. I'll bring you the more in-depth review here soon of this bass. We'll show you some tones. And appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you guys later.